recording. And we're live again, my friends. Hopefully this time, whatever the problem was, will be resolved. I don't know what happened earlier. I do have a theory, actually, because when I got home from work, my computer did not start up right away. Like, it pushed the power button all you want, and it wouldn't do it. And so, after playing with it, I got the computer to start, and what I should have done somewhere after that was actually rebooted the computer. But I don't know what that means for my internet. I feel like my internet was really the major problem there. At any rate, let me get my phone set up so I can observe the stream from this side of things. Oh my god. Okay. All right. I think I'm ready to go. Like we're streaming and recording and everything, but shall we begin? We did intros already. It just won't be on this video. Oh my god. This is so crazy. Let me pull up my notes, my notes. Along the Frontier, episode 2, intro. We did the first part of the intro already, so let me go to the show intro. We open on a scene, at first, showing nearly all black. Faintly a speck, tiny and nearly invisible. Perhaps, rather, faintly a speck or two. Tiny and nearly invisible. From the left side of the screen, we see the antenna-strewn prow of the USS Tambatam slowly crawl into view, and as it does, we see its markings and fading paint job. Swinging gracefully and slowly as the camera pans along until beyond the ship we see the large, round body of the moon Aristarchus. I'm not even sure if I'm saying that right. Its parent planet hovering in the background. I actually have an image. I should probably put that up for you guys. Where is it? And is it there? Is it showing? Oh, it is showing. It's really, really small for some reason.
Do not have
you guys need tokens on
visibility with token.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just turn that off if you don't want to drop tokens.
Yeah, just stay by. We're not having technical problems whatsoever. Not a single bit. I'm in the wrong.
It is not a technical problem. It is technically a person problem because it is a lack of knowledge that you are working on gaining.
This is permissions. All players? Nope, that shows it in the navigation panel. Am I right? Color, lighting, token visibility off. There. Can you guys see it now? You see the image now?
Okay. Blue planet, orange planet, shippy ship.
Yep, there you go. There you go. All right, cool. Now
I thought it was a space scorpion.
It's something. It's definitely something. And just so the viewers can see.
I'm pretty sure it's a space shark flying towards us, so can't you see like it's got like the nose and then like the squared off chin and then it's got the fins underneath it?
I don't know what you're talking about right now, to be honest. I'm so like right now the viewers are seeing everything that I'm supposed to be seeing, but not necessarily you guys. So I'm just gonna go back to the Zoom. Sorry, viewers, you're just gonna have to deal with my technical ineptitude.
Well, no, look at the image. The nose is over the orange planet, and then below that there's a little white line. That's where the mouth is.
Yeah, okay.
You see it?
I kind of see something there. Yeah.
Looks shark-like.
Yeah. Anyway, let me get back into my... Oh, God, I'm on the wrong freaking... God damn it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna get better at this. I promise. It's just not going to be today. All right, here we go. I said all this, but let me read through it again one more time. We open on a scene at first showing nearly all black, except perhaps faintly a speck or two, tiny, nearly invisible in the black. From the left of the screen, we see the antenna-strewn prow of the USS Tambatam slowly crawling into view, and as it does, we see its markings and fading paint job. Swinging gracefully and slowly by, the camera pans along until beyond the ship we see the large round body of the moon Aristarchus, its parent planet, hovering in the background and coming into view as well. And for a moment, we see the moon occlude the local primary known as Kruger 60. But just as the star disappears behind the planet, we see an intense flash, followed seconds later by the slowly expanding white-hot ball of plasma as clearly on the surface of that moon some location was just obliterated through the use of nuclear weapons. As the screen fades to black, as it transitions into our next shot, we see the words Fort Nebraska, population 60,000, written on the bottom left of the screen. But even as the shot fades, so do the letters, but not without ticking down, digit by digit, rapidly, until it finally says population 0. We open then on the scene just inside the cryogenic bay aboard the Tambatam, and the pods are slowly opening. It's quiet, and we see people slowly emerging, bare feet, reaching out of the pods to touch the cool tiled floor. And then my other note page I had to open up. So it should be noted first off.
And they couldn't spring for heated floors.
It's a spaceship. They're running on minimal power when everybody's asleep for obvious reasons.
I guess.
It should be noted that obviously the players and the viewers all know that something just happened on the surface of the moon to which you guys were arriving. But you, the characters, do not yet know all of that. We have a scene inside the cryopod bay, or cryo bay as I've started to call it because simplicity. Your 5 pods are opening, as well as Staff Sergeant Zaborski, Lieutenant Casados, and in a strange turn, perhaps unexpected for some, there's a Lieutenant Colonel Hanrahan whose pod is opening, identified only by the fact that his name is stenciled somewhere along the side of the pod. Everything is quiet for the most part, and you have a few moments of only the sounds of the monitoring computers and the cryopods and whatever, coughs and grunts and stretching sounds that people make when they first wake up. I will let you have the floor for a moment before we continue. Does anybody have any I just woke up things they want to say or do? You have a moment. By all means.
I go make sure I go around to make sure that all my peeps are awake and are upright and at least pretending to be awake.
So Corporal Wescott is definitely checking on her troopers, especially. Oh God, I can't remember the name. Everybody has a fucking W in their last name.
I especially check on the 2 NPC buddies.
Yeah, the buddies, the minions.
The Mr. Or Watson Warren, I believe.
Watson Warren.
That sounds good. Watson Warren. If ever there was a buddy cop show, that was the name of it.
I literally Watts has my buddy or my NPC person literally has Matthew Warren listed as his buddy because I figure the problem children will be buddies forever.
Oh man, I'm getting strong Spearman and Aiello vibes right now.
Hey, look, we're not supposed to heavy RP the NPC dudes that just follow us around, so I figure they can be each other's friend.
Well, that's one way to do it. Anybody else attempting to do anything in the first few moments of waking up, believing that you have just arrived at Fort Nebraska?
I mean, we have arrived.
Well, you have arrived, yes. I mean, so let me rephrase that. You have entered orbit around the moon Aryarchus.
So we were not expecting the Lieutenant Colonel to be here. When we went under, he was not here?
It might be safe to say that maybe you weren't necessarily expecting him to be waking up right now. Maybe he would have woken up earlier or perhaps later, but he's waking up at the same time as everybody else.
Okay.
Which arguably may be unique or not necessarily the norm.
Pike will lean in to Wescott and say, make sure your Marines keep their shit in line around Lieutenant Colonel. We don't need him crawling up our ass.
I do a slight head nod, and I spend I'm not dragging the 2 by their ears, but I'm right there about to make sure they get their shit together.
She's got her hand up, and it's just not quite in the fully committed
I'm not even.
grabbing them.
I'm following right behind them and shuffling them over to their lockers to make sure they get all their stuff.
Yeah. At this point, just to point it out, Hanrahan is already on his feet and in the locker room area, as well as Casados, who is your platoon commander that you guys probably really had. I think we kind of briefly breezed through maybe any sort of formalized introductions between the characters and their new leadership, but a lot of it was kind of rushed. One, because we were trying to end the session because it was getting late, like really late, and then also just to you guys needed to get the ship underway. You needed to get back here was your understanding. But the three main NPCs, Zamborsky, Casados, and Hanrahan, it's almost like, what's the word I'm looking for? Automatic response. Like, feet hit the floor, they stand up, they stretch, and they're in the locker room already. While the rest of you are perhaps not necessarily dilly-dallying, but a certain delay for one reason or another.
Yeah, Pike is on a similar program, but he did stop to whisper that to Wescott on his way to the lockers to go get his hydration pack out of his locker.
The one he
start getting dressed.
The one he pre-posed before we went FTL.
he's done it a lot. He knows.
He knows how it goes.
Yeah.
I feel like Zaborski's also one. Maybe this is where Pike picked it up on a previous tour, where as soon as you come out of FTL, before you go into FTL, you put the pack in there. When you wake up, it's the first thing you grab. Anyway, Luke, your characters, whose names I cannot remember off the top of my head right now. Leland something or other.
Winston. Yeah.
Are you guys doing anything unique, special, indifferent, or are you just gonna go ahead and follow suit and be like, "Yep, that's the colonel. I'm gonna go get my shit right."
Yeah. So Matthew is going to follow the only leadership that seems to be going on around here. While Leland Winston is checking out what to do about coffee, and starts to move his way into the I want to say fitting room, but I guess I'm probably just tired.
I mean, we can call it a fitting room. Let me throw a map up so you guys have an idea of what you're looking at here. I had that image so you knew where we were at. Let's go with this one. Activate, and then figure. It's gonna turn. How did I do it? Was it lighting? Yep, token vision. You guys should be able to see this one. You should be able to see this map, no problem. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you're over in
the lockers,
the bottom left area of where the cryo bay is, and then nearby is the lockers. I have a window over top of it, so I can't quite see everything. Yeah, about the time everybody's in the locker room and starting to grab hydration packs or look for coffee or throw some clothes on, alarms, loud, blaring, like obscenely loud, because everything's been quiet up until this point, other than whatever sounds you guys are making.
What kind of alarm is it?
This would be a general quarters, for lack of a better thing to call it, because I don't know what terms that exactly means what, but basically a general alarm. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like just a generic alert, not necessarily like under fire or, collision imminent or anything like that, but just a generic alarm. Yeah, all the quiet sounds of you guys rustling through and getting ready and whatever jibber jabber you guys might have, tossing jokes back and forth or whatever, it's suddenly supplanted by alarms ringing and wailing throughout the ship and the shifting of the bright white light to a dim, softer red light. Hanrahan, wearing only his boxers at this point, bolts upright at the cracking of the first alarm, and by the time the second alarm, he's already shoving off and making his way out of the cryo bay area. He's already gone. You blinked, you missed him.
I look back at the rest of the Marines. Armor, boots, weapons.
The Afghanistan approach.
Yeah. Armor, boots, weapons now. And I'm gonna grab my my torso armor,
mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna run over to the armory, to the weapon locker to unlock the weapon locker. So as soon as they get their armor, they can run over and get their weapons.
All right. You hear as the colonel is already 4 or 5 steps away from where he was a moment ago. He's like, "Casados, get your people geared up. I'll brief as soon as I know more." And then he's gone. He just completely vanishes around the corner of a hallway or something. Zim and Casados both are like, "Okay, all right, it's go time." They are quickly, like they're doing almost exactly what you just said. They've got t-shirt, boxers, and boots. They're grabbing their gear. They're already heading to the weapon locker about the time you start fumbling with the keys or what have you. I'm sure it's probably a keypad.
So fun random thing. The dog tags in this universe, they're digital key cards.
Oh, nice. There you go.
So you use that to access parts of the ship in the weapons locker. So he'd like run up and hold his tags out to unlock it,
bloop, bloop.
slide open the door, and then throw his armor on and clip it and grab his weapons.
That's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, Zimborski, he's already grabbed his shit and is like 4 steps to the weapon locker, and he looks back at Wescott and the other 3. He's like, fuck you waiting on?
Them along.
What's that?
I'm hustling them along.
Yeah.
There is no fucking delay around here.
Zimborski, I think he doesn't even really
Honestly,
register.
I probably will not have my shoes on anytime soon at this rate if I'm dragging their asses through, because I do not expect them to be awake.
Yeah, I think you see Zim look back over his shoulder and
I just grab my
you know
shoes,
how it is, like,
toss it over, and haul ass with everything else.
Yeah,
and shuffle them
it's
along
definitely one of those
go.
moments where it's like you can never move fast enough for your boss at this particular moment. So Zimborski's like, "The fuck you waiting on? Get your shit and get to the hangar bay. Hurry up!"
Mm-hmm.
As he's already got like half his gear on, securing the other half, grabbing a weapon and heading over. Like and then Casados is only a moment or 2 behind him.
Yeah. I'll tell you right now, my problem children are well drilled in this because they are my problem children.
About right. Sounds about right. What do we? I'll give you guys a moment to finish getting dressed or what have you, and start making your way into presumably. Well, Zim did already say the hangar bay, so. But take a moment, talk to me. What's going through your guys' heads, your characters and whatnot?
Pike has been doing this his entire life.
Yes.
So this is very like, he's just like, can I set a PR? Like,
Can I get a personal record out of this?
Yeah.
How long will it take me to get locked and loaded and in the hangar bay, ready to roll out? How long will it take me to get these new guys?
Mm-hmm. I'm literally in the process of grabbing my shit and hustling their asses after Kane. I figure whatever shuttle my ass is about to be loaded into, I'll have time to stand there and shove everything on because they need hustled.
Having been in those kinds of positions, that's about how it goes. Get your ass down to the motor pool, throw the shit in there, we'll figure it out later.
And as each of them come over and grab their weapons, I'll point back to the lockers and say, uniform in your bag, go to the hangar.
Uniform and your bag?
Uniform into your bag.
Yeah,
into your bag.
You just chuck it in there because you can always throw it on. The thing about the military, of course, is the hurry up and wait is a very, very, very real thing. You hurry the fuck up and you get to the next staging point, and then you have to wait. That's when you start fixing things like, fuck, I have my right boot on my left foot. I don't know how that happened, and I'm still walking, but I need to fix this right fucking now.
Yeah, Pike's thinking like we they get the armor on, they get their weapons, they throw all their other crap in a bag, and while we're dropping, if we're going to drop, it's going to take time for the dropship to reach the surface, so you guys can get dressed and put your armor back on in the dropship.
Yep.
That's what I basically am pulling my ducklings are following Kane.
Wescott's not dumb. She's like, wait, that's the section sergeant. If I'm not following him, I am more likely to be wrong than if I am not. I think I said that wrong.
Dude, it's the first time on this ship. I'm assuming my people are getting their asses lost if we don't follow him. I am hustling them.
Oh, have you ever heard the term buddy assist cord?
I'm assuming that's in the same vein as putting little strings between mittens and small children hands. So yes.
Yeah, it's literally a string tied from me to my buddy to that person. And then I actually got to a point at one time in my own military experience that I very seriously considered having everybody literally tied off to another person. Like, every person tied to every other person. I was going to make a fucking star out of it. Just because they were pissing me off and disappearing, wandering off so much.
Whoever the last person to the weapon locker is going to be is going to get Pike chasing them to the locker.
Ooh, I feel like
it's most likely me because I'm behind them moving their asses.
Ooh, Pike. How does Pike feel about the sergeant or the corporal being the last one because she's taking the time to get her people moving?
Ooh.
So Pike is going to he's already got his weapons because he was the first one there. And
he
threw his armor on. So he jogs back over to where Wescott is moving towards there and just jogs alongside, screaming in her ear. It's like, you are the example. You must be first. No one can follow you if you are not in fucking front. Get to the goddamn locker. And he just like follows you all the way to the locker and then chases you guys down to the fucking.
That's fucking amazing. I love it. That was the straight NCO lead from the front. There are no exceptions answer. Yep. Awesome. Yeah. So what you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That is very much a yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hauling ass. Yes, sir.
Yes, Sergeant. I work for a fucking living.
Luke, is there anything from your side before we move on that your particular characters want to present here?
So Leland is not usually too late when it comes to things, so it would have been probably Matthew and I forget what his other name is, but Warren and
Don't feel bad.
Watts.
I've forgotten everybody's name except for Pike and Wescott.
Watts.
Yep.
Watts, right?
Yep.
Warren and Watts.
Warren and
So Warren and Watts would probably be in the back a little bit with that whole argument while Leland is putting on bits of armor and stuff during yawns, because he knows that you shouldn't be waiting for the yawn to end before you start putting some stuff on.
Time management is what I'm hearing. All right. So once you guys finally make it into the hangar bay, which I feel like is probably a very chaotic moment or two, but it is only a moment or two before everybody's in there. Zim and Casados are already in there, and the two platoon leaders will start directing everybody to loading and prepping the APC. You've got the APC. Somebody has already pulled it around to where all they have to do is finish loading it and then back it up onto the Cheyenne. And then a moment later, a flight team will rush past and make their way onto the Cheyenne. And after a few minutes, of course, people just basically it's assholes and elbows. It's like everywhere you look, somebody's running around. And there seems to be a lot more people than you thought there would be as well. It almost looks like, so like in this one hangar bay, if you look at the map there, it has the 2 drop ships, which each carries, I'm going to say 1 APC. I could be wrong. I think it's only 1.
Yeah,
but each one theoretically can actually carry a full platoon of 2 sections of 2 squads each. So there is like assholes and elbows all over the place. It looks like they've actually mustered everybody for some reason or whatever reason. It's chaos. Nobody really knows what's going on, and no one has answers, and everyone has. It's like everybody has questions and nobody has answers. It's kind of what's going on. All the people are talking and asking, priority. While people are talking and asking, the priority that everyone is or should be working for is load out and prep for immediate deployment. We're talking like you guys need to get ammo loaded, ammo for your small arms, ammo for your own individual weapons, ammo for the vehicle, ammo for the Cheyenne that isn't already loaded. Like, I imagine the rocket pods and whatnot are already loaded on there because they don't really come out except for like during servicing or what have you. You got to get food and water, all your combat load, all of the combat gear, all the bags and shit that everybody carries. It's probably, it's just utter chaos. Everybody's running everywhere.
So during the loads, Pike is going to take advantage of his physical advantage here to move more stuff, and he's going to rotate one person to go like into the power loader bay and put their fucking uniform on, and then come back out and help and rotate a person. Smart. And he's going to try to carry it up so that we can be the best prepared group and still get everything done.
Nice. Anybody else got anything? Maybe as you're like, okay, actually, here, let's do this. Not necessarily a la The Office or anything, but like for a brief aside for each of the 4 other characters, starting with Wescott. Pike comes over and says, "You go over the power bay, the power loader bay. Get your shit right. Get your uniform right. Get your armor right. Get all your shit right." In that moment, what is going through Wescott's head? Like, what is she thinking? What is she feeling? Because up until now, sorry, I'm going to interject just for a quick second, but up until now, your life, you've done this sort of alert EDRI kind of thing before, but nothing like this, where usually in your experience, it's like, just get to the motor pool, get all your shit loaded on APC, and wait for orders for movement. you're not getting any of that same structure familiarity right now. It's just movement constantly everywhere.
Pike is my new best friend, and I will be following his ass until he tells me something else.
Okay, fair enough. And then
also the
sorry,
the only quick comment I would have would be back to Pike saying like, "Hey, Watts, he's good with picking shit up and moving it around with his."
Good.
Seaburn knows how explosives and shit work.
Yeah, you get a nod from Pike, and he takes that. He just takes that at face value, and turns and redirects him towards ammunition loading.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't put Warren on ammo loading. I'd put the other two actually on everything else because they're not specialized in heavy machinery explosives. So I literally would say, "Hey, Watts is Seaburn ammo."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
and then
you get
haul ass.
I mean, you can definitely get the sense that like Pike has just sort of trusted that your statement there explicitly, no question, no consideration, just like that is a fact. I'm going to use it.
It is a fact until proven wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I would. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And
interrupting.
When I flip back out, I would say I'd continue on Pike's direction and reinforce it with my peeps of sending my Seaburn to do armor, and I'd probably send Luke's main character to make sure we have food and medical supplies, and the other one all the other stuff.
Sounds like a plan.
That sounds pretty solid.
I am not a strong. My character is not strong. She would have the stronger characters do the heavier shit. And as well, she did more detail oriented, organized.
She's got strength.
Dude, I have a 2 strength.
Man, she's gonna take one hit from anything, and she's gonna be out.
Good use of cover.
She's the mage.
She's the mage. Lance Corporal Leland Winston, it is your turn to shuffle off to the power loader bay. What is going through Winston's mind? What is he feeling? What is he thinking?
Chaos. So with the chaos of everything going on, his particular familiarity is with the medical supplies, so he's concentrating on that mostly. If he can keep himself occupied mentally with his training, his knowledge, he can make it through this, and that's what he's basically thinking.
Stick to the drill.
Yeah.
There's a reason why things
he's
going
to rotate to the loader bay, get dressed as quickly as possible, using the yawns for power, and getting his butt back in line.
Next up, we have PFC Watts, who is one of the 2 minions. Watts is the Seaburn guy. You just told Pike to have Watts do the help with the ammo loadout. But for a moment, Watts is told, nope, go fix your fucking uniform. Get it right. What is going through Watts' mind at this point?
Probably it's like, of course, contradictory officers.
That sounds about right.
He goes in, hustles his shit together. His uniform under his armor, probably a little sloppy. Armor, neat. And then he goes and hauls shit around because he's used to being told to go move the heavy shit. And especially the heavy munitions. Yeah.
He might even...
His skill set supports it, so that's what he focuses on.
That sounds about right. And lastly...
Cough, cough, 3. Heavy machinery and observation. Cough, cough.
And then lastly, Mr. Galactic Cross winner, PFC Matthew Warren, who is just a regular old rifleman.
Yeah, so rifleman here, feeling a little bit out of place, fear in his eyes and a smile on his face. Goes, this is going well. I don't know what's going on.
I'm just picturing the dog in the house that's on fire. He's like, this is fine. It's not so bad.
Yeah, just a little terrified, and mostly just trying to occupy himself with whatever is going on and being the human Labrador that he is.
There you go. Pike, your people have all taken a moment to get their uniforms squared away. Loading and prep continues. It looks like there's actually a semblance of rhythm and motion, minus the songs and dance, but It feels like things are finally shaking out. It's looking like it's almost time for you to walk through your vehicle and make sure everything's where it's supposed to be. What is going through Pike's mind? And does he still need to finish getting dressed? Or is he magically, by rote of doing this a million times, already dressed and ready to go?
I feel like he's like, once we got to our designated
Your alert
APC,
station. Yeah.
he's
your APC.
like he ran in and he locked his weapons in the racks in the APC. So he's got less stuff to deal with. And while between trying to help load weapons onto the Cheyenne, be like, okay, we're waiting for the power loader to bring the next one. Pants. Okay, let me help get that in. All right, power loader's picking up the next one. Armor off. Okay, next one, like shirt. Like it's he's trying really hard to keep pushing as quickly as he can to make sure that he's getting that his guys are getting what they need and they can still finish first. So when it gets to the time to do the final checks to unfuck anything that got messed up, he's going to send Warren back to the crew quarters to get box nasties for everybody.
To get what?
Box nasties.
Oh, God. I'm hearing the words box nasties.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I'm hearing that right. And then just for clarity, what exactly would the average person call those? Because I am thinking food of some sort.
Very, very. It's that low quality crap that you get from. I mean, he's packing food into boxes, the crap food that we normally eat. Okay. So that's why it's the box nasty. It's the stuff that you get on base, the free food.
Yeah.
So he's just like throwing some breakfast into a box for each person, so that when we're
just random whatever
the final checks.
Yeah, random whatever he can grab, so everybody at least has a chance to put something in their stomach before they plummet through the atmosphere of a planet.
That sounds about right.
All right, it has gotten
at this
to the point.
I would probably pull out the random. I know my people. I pull out like the caffeine, like the chocolate covered coffee beans, hand Pike some.
Yeah, he gives a nod and says, "Let's walk through and make sure nothing's fucked."
Yeah, there you go. This is the time to do it. Things have kind of not necessarily settled down. Like there's definitely the heavy energy right now of, you gotta load. You gotta load now, but you don't know what the fuck is going on. That's like literally all you know is get this vehicle ready. And this is the point where it feels like everything is loaded that needs to be loaded. At least enough for an initial inspection or someone to walk through and say, hey, where's the spanner? Why can't I find any of the spanners that are supposed to be in here? Dumb questions like that. So, again, you guys have a moment to interact as you see fit for the moment.
Is our stuff good?
Are you asking me or?
Yeah, like did our shit get loaded right? Are we good to go?
I mean, if you want to throw in like, hey, somebody put this thing in upside down or something like that, that's fine. But generically, as the GM, there are no GM gotchas.
Okay. Then I think while we're waiting for the food to come back, like he finishes looking through everything, and then he'll look at Wescott and just like heartily slap on the pauldrons of the armor and say, "Good fucking shit, we are ready."
It was Warren that went out for the breakfast, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Can he roll an agility check to be like actually making breakfast for everybody?
If you want to roll,
I don't think it's so much of making as he goes in, snags boxes, shovels.
Like, is it like a box per ingredient, and then just kind of like?
Yeah, the way that the machines are set up in here, it's like you push a button at the cornbread machine and a brick of cornbread falls out.
You know what? You can do this. Have him roll wits, just to see if
see how tasty his combination.
To see if he puts a decent combination of food items together. Otherwise, you're gonna get like one dude's gonna get nothing but chocolate covered coffee beans, and another dude's gonna get like all the protein bars.
All right, here goes. That's not a roll stress dice.
No. If you have stress, you should clear it because I probably could have given you stress, but there's no real mechanical reason to do that right now. Just wits. Or do you have? Can you roll straight wits, or do you have to?
Yeah. You can make a.
Just click on it.
You can do that.
Okay, so there's a roll stress dice and a check mark, and then it says roll.
Uncheck the box for roll stress, and then click roll.
Oh, does Warren have stress?
Boom.
That's
Hot fucking
wow.
rolls to
That's
start.
wow. If this was like, I don't know, Pendragon and you needed a 14, you just rolled a 14. Holy shit. Okay. Yeah, no. He manages to actually take a few moments. Like, so I'm gonna say this. He'll take an extra minute or two, not long. He'll take an extra. Hold on one second. Yes, you're good. Remember 9 o'clock though. He takes maybe an extra minute or two longer than what you might expect. But when he comes back, that little minor grievance is quickly forgotten by the fact that everybody actually has something close to a half decent meal. Like, everybody gets a fair share of the chocolate covered coffee beans, a little bit of like some random dried fruit, because I can't imagine there being much fresh fruit on the ship right now. A little bit of dried fruit, a protein bar, maybe a drink, like, one of those little, not even a pint. What's smaller than a pint? A cup of milk, the little milk cartons, and a cup of orange juice. The same size, same carton. The only difference is one is white and the other one's orange. But he manages to put all this together and brings it over to, ultimately the 5 of you. And Zim, just in the background, watching. PFC, where the fuck is mine? What about the LT? Fuck us, huh? Alright. I'll remember this. Pike, I want you to roll observation real quick.
Okay.
I think it's fair to say you could tell Zim is joking, despite the actual tone coming out of his voice.
Yeah. But Pike's not going to say anything about that.
No, absolutely not. You better not.
This is serious shit.
Yeah, you better not. In fact, you might want to back him up.
Yeah, so he comes over with the food trays and hands them out. I'll take mine. I'll take his and say, well, you heard the fucking staff sergeant.
Warren's just like, man. Sad Warren.
And I'll after he turns and leaves, I'll hand his box over to Wescott, and I'll look over at Staff Sergeant Szymborski, and give him a nod so he knows that we're ready.
Yeah, Szymborski takes his time going through your shit, and he's in there pulling on straps and trying to open cans that shouldn't be able to be opened because they're restrained, making sure everything is stored. He's not. It almost looks like he's not even looking to see if everything is loaded correctly. Or let me rephrase that. Not making sure everything needed is loaded, but everything that is loaded is tied down. He's like, Pike, good shit. Stand by as soon as I hear anything. And as soon as he says that, you hear over the PA system, all clear. I repeat, all clear. All hands stand down from alert and prepare for departure and FTL.
I look back at the other Marines. Time for cryo.
Well, I just look at Pike and go, remember?
And I'm picturing the anime sad face.
Sound effect, it's just the face.
I'm totally picturing the anime sad face where the tears are starting to well up just inside the lower eyelid. Responses?
Well, it's so funny because I feel like I'm standing there not even shoulder height with them in their armor, going like, at least I'm not scrunched in my cryopod.
Any other comments at this point?
Pike will look over and say, get your Marines ready for cryo. But I'm going to talk to you before you go under. Mm-hmm. I'll catch up with you. And
yes, Sergeant.
I'll look over at the staff sergeant and say, drill?
I don't think so. Get that shit stowed before we go under. I imagine we'll have time.
Do we know anything? Anything we can do to make sure we're ready?
Tell you what, leave the ammo loaded. I'm sure somebody's going to catch hell for that. But leave the ammo loaded, everything, or I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. I think realistically, if anything was left loaded on the APC, it would be like your personal gear that you don't need right away. And ammo would probably have to be restored in ammo lockers for safety reasons. So you would have to offload. Yeah, he's going to tell you, offload ammo, any personal gear you don't need for the next few days. Keep it on the APCs. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
We'll keep things short. I'll get the ammo off.
As you move into accomplishing that task, you hear a different voice come in. Listen up. And as soon as they say that, Zamborski's shouting for everybody to go to attention. And you see, I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. You hear Zamborski yell for attention, and then Hanrahan says, "Stand easy." I fucking hate when officers say that shit, by the way. I don't know why I just said it. And then he says, "Gather around. Come on. Horseshoe around me." And everybody wanders up.
Front row ticket me.
Sorry, listen up. Tambatam sensors registered the detonation of a thermonuclear device over Fort Nebraska as we entered our final approach corridor. The entire colony has been wiped out. Orbital stations are literally just debris. The entire system has been placed in quarantine and is now off limits to all UAS military. Instead, we're being ordered to transit to the I'll never say this quite right. Mu Hercules system and rendezvous with whatever's left of the 33rd over Tithonus. That is all I have for now. I need to see all platoon leaders in 15 minutes on the bridge. Get your shit together, as we'll be in FTL in about 6 hours. Dismissed.
I think when he says that when he's talking about the thermonuclear device, Pike doesn't say anything because he's not going to interrupt.
No.
But he's definitely got like a low growl going.
I feel like there's a variety of mixed emotions at that news, especially for the people not in the cast. Like basically Pike and Up, and then any other platoons or sections or what have you that are used to having Nebraska be home. Yeah, you've been just given the only information that you guys know, and now you have to basically unload half of what you loaded and go get ready to go back into the sleep tank. Take it away.
Okay. Pike just nods, just says, "Get back to it. I've got the ammo."
Okay. Yeah, I feel like
at this point, I have a couple of takeaways. I'll be when we get back to the cryopod, I will be insisting that people add a couple of extra things to their go bags because I have a feeling it's going to be a lot quicker of a move than we are used to in our ground-based assignment that we had before.
When you were in
they get an extra meal thrown in there,
or whatever the hell I called it.
They get an extra meal pack chucked in, an extra drink, stuff like that. Extra pair of socks, make sure it's all set and ready to go. Because I have a feeling when we wake up again, it's not going to be pretty either.
Imagine. Luke, any input from your character and your character's minion?
So Leland is recoiling at the loss of life. He's a little worried about the fact that happened. But not terribly shaken up, I hope. Warren is just happy he doesn't have to see combat today. Or at least maybe not immediately.
That's fair. That's fair. Pike, you had a growl going a moment ago. Is that still there as you continue to offload?
He's he's not shouting or anything like that, and he's definitely still unloading the ammo. But it is very visible that he is using an absolutely unnecessary amount of roughness and force with these ammo cans. Anybody nearby can tell that there's a dark cloud of absolute livid anger that he's trying to keep contained.
All right.
And picking up heavy things and putting them down is how he's going to get some energy out before he starts breaking shit.
So this is his version of going to the chapel. I mean, gym.
Yeah.
All right. So let's fast forward a little bit. Probably, an hour or two later, everybody has basically stood down from the alert that ended up not being anything. It certainly felt real. If your character would wonder if that was a real thing, that was a real thing as far as you could tell from the vibe that you're getting from other people. Some people are already heading back into cryo because they know that their status is, for lack of a better thing to call it, they are the second string. They're not the ones on the field first, so to speak. But as you are finally getting a moment to unwind, you're getting ready to strip down to your skivvies to hop back into the cryopods. Casados and the Colonel, along with, of course, Staff Sergeant Zaborski, they come down into the pod bay as well, and they want to gather everybody up for a moment. And the Colonel is the first to speak. And let me rephrase that. By everybody, he's meaning mostly your squad, Pike. Or your section, I should say. Colonel starts, and he says, well, you guys are new, so let me go ahead and do this right. I am Lieutenant Colonel Mac Hanrahan. Normally I have something a little bit more formal and probably a bit more of a quiet moment to allow us to get to know each other a little bit better, but I'm sure you can understand we don't always get what we want, now do we? And he takes a moment to look over the four of you, the 4 W's. Jeez, that's what I'm going to call you guys. That's your squad name right now, by the way. The 4 W's. Pike and the 4 W's. If ever there was anyway, I'm getting off track.
We're a band now.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, thank you. I'm the commander of the 33rd MAU, the Gunfighters, and I wish I could welcome y'all here under better circumstances. And then he'll take a moment actually to shake shake each of your guys' hands, the 4 of you, starting with Wescott. When he shakes your hand, he gives you a quick, thank you for your. I literally wrote in here, thank them for their service. I don't mean it in the meme-y sort of way that most people do at this point, but he's legit. He's like, thank you, because, and I think his story is, and he says this at least once. He's like, it takes a lot to make a Marine, but it takes even more to make a gunfighter. And I'm proud of you guys for making that extra level of commitment coming here. Thank you. And he says that, variations on that theme to each of the 4 of you. When he shakes your hand, Wescott, is there anything in particular that the 2 of you may briefly, in a few seconds or less, talk about? Anything you want to say to him?
Glad to be here.
I know that's an odd question. But I feel like this is, if there's going to be a moment, if you have a 5-second pitch to throw to him, this is the time.
I don't feel the need for a 5-second pitch. He says, hey, welcome. Takes a lot of work to be here. And I say, glad to be here.
There you go.
Handshake.
There you go. Switch over to the character tab because I can never remember everybody's damn name. Lance Corporal Winston. Damn fine time to have you here. Thank you for coming aboard. Shakes your hand.
I hope I am useful.
You got those medic badges. I certainly hope so too. PFC Watts. Good to meet you. What's your specialty?
Seaburn, sir.
Outstanding. Out-fucking-standing. Could always use somebody like that. PFC Warren. Galactic Cross recipient. Ain't too many of them wandering around the verse. And here I am, got one of them standing right in front. I think I actually have 2. Now that I think about it. No, the second one. There was a second one. I forgot. One of the NPCs I rolled up for last week. I have a
commendation medal. I don't have a Galactic Cross.
Is that Warren that has it? I thought he had the.
No.
Warren has the Galactic Cross, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
My primary has the commendation.
Yes. I rolled that event for one of the NPCs that was shooting at you guys last week. So there's actually multiple, not necessarily here, but in the campaign at this point. But yeah, no. PFC Warren. As I live and breathe, another Galactic Cross survivor. Sorry, recipient. I did not mean to. That was a me thing, not him. He would not have said that, because that sounds very fucking rude and patronizing.
Survivor. Yes.
If you want to run with that, I can't stop that. Actually, on a real note, Survivor's Guild's a real fucking thing. It's a real fucking thing. And I feel like a lot of people getting those big awards, the ones that you traditionally can only get under fire, I feel like a lot of those people may have to deal with that sort of thing. At any rate. PFC Warren, shakes your hand. Thanks for coming aboard, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, where am I? Rest assured, whatever the hell is going on here, we'll get to the bottom of it. We'll get it resolved, most Ricky Ticky like. But to do that, I'll need good eyes, clear heads, and sharp shooting from you, the guys on the ground. Can I count on you to do that for me? And he's addressing all of you, by the way.
Sir, yes, sir.
Pike gives an incredibly loud oorah.
Hoorah, yes.
Fucking love it. He says that too. He feels that. Love that. You can't see me thumping my own chest because of where I'm sitting in the camera, but he's like, yeah, feel that. All right. Where am I? All right, LT, with me, the rest of you. Back to work. Oh, I rewrote that. I'm sorry. The meeting was supposed to take place slightly differently than it did, and we're actually in the cryo base. So no, he's not going to say anything to the LT. What you will get, though, is Staff Sergeant Zimborski approaching the rest of you. And he kind of says, kind of quiet, he's like, I think that's the most I've heard that guy say in 5 minutes in all the time I've known him.
Me too.
Anything else before we move on to the next segment?
Does Staff Sergeant leave us?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's kind of, you guys are left to yourselves to do whatever you need to do in order to get loaded up in the, whatever you need to do between now and going to sleep for the next however long.
I think Pike is like sort of from where we were rushing and he was yelling and he was trying to get things going. Like now that it's slow, he's way more chill and he's like, all right, I'm going to show you guys how to pack your lockers so you can get your shit done faster. The faster you get that done, the more likely it is you get to eat and the less likely you're going to get hassled and given some other random shit to do. Let me show you how my locker is set up. And he sort of walks through it calmly, like, here's my hydration pack. Trust me, you'll get real tired if you don't start with this. This is how I've got my stuff ordered in the locker. I'm always prepared to jump right in out of cryo. Doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it counts. And he just sort of calmly walks through the whole thing.
Yeah, you guys at this point probably have like an hour or two before you need to be under.
Yeah, that actually sounds like a compliment. Thank you.
I think for Rodance and Luke, just for your guys' benefit, and for any viewers that don't know this, in order to go faster than light in the alien universe, you have to be in cryo. If you don't, your brain will literally start to fuck with you. NDDs or neural, not divergent, disassociation disorder becomes a real fucking problem really quick to the point of causing psychosis and shit. So you have to be in cryo suspension before going faster than light. And you guys got about an hour or two before you need to be in the tanks. So whatever you want to do now before that time, this is the time. Other than walking through Pike's locker and taking note.
Yes, everyone is well organized. I will ensure such. I'm sure Leland can get his own shit together, but I'll always double check on the other two.
He's mostly overlooking his medical gear and hopefully optimizing that. But Warren is going to be paying attention. At least looks like he's paying attention.
Okay.
If he isn't, I will find out shortly. He'll get a back of the head slap and told to do it again.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Ooh, I love it. Locker drills. Let's go.
He's gonna definitely look like he's paying attention for the time being. Smiling and nodding.
Once they've gone once he's done the locker show and tell and they've started doing the thing and Wescott's given some direction, he'll motion for Wescott to follow him.
Mm-hmm. I'll follow him along after I finish my statement. Eyeball, then follow.
Eyeball, then follow.
And he'll take a seat like in the seating area furthest from the lockers. And motion for Wescott to have a seat.
Sit down.
Sometimes it's good to let the grunts have some time without the NCOs.
Very true.
So I want to start this off with I was impressed with your showing. You recover from a disastrous situation in that field exercise. You've got tight control over your Marines. We got our shit done in an unexpected situation that you guys are probably not used to doing. So good on you for that.
Yep. Thank you, Sergeant. I will eventually remember.
But this consider this our first like real meeting here. This just the two of us, so it can be a little bit less formal. Do you have any questions about anything that's going on here? I know it's probably going to be a bit of a transition.
Bit of a transition, he says.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is her first Starship posting, so it's definitely a little unusual. So I take it when all of the general. Are there any other alarms other than the general quarters that we need to respond to like that, or is it pretty much just general quarters? Yeah, basic questions like, "Hey, how's the processing the alarms work?"
Man,
That type of thing. I mean, because I'm assuming they gave us a quick briefing when we came onto the ship, but just reinforcing the information. You know.
Yeah, he'd respond like, here are the different alarms. Here's the regulation answer of what you're supposed to do. This is what you really need to do. So for some of them where it's like, the alarm for ship combat, they want us to be posted to repel boarders, but if they just initiated contact, we're good. We got some time. That's the thing we don't have to bust our balls over. And then, like the drill we just got for general quarters, that's usually what they're going to call for an emergency drop. That's the thing we got to rush for. And he talks through a bunch of those sorts of things, what we're supposed to do when there's a fire on the ship and things like that.
Because look, we got the party line. Here's the Rags answer when we first got on the ship. I'm assuming this is the time to get all the how life really works discussion in.
Yeah. Sure. A lot of that stuff was written by officers with bright ideas.
Oh God.
This is what you really got to do. I've been doing this for a minute.
I think I want to throw in too. I always feel like the Marines on a ship can easily be thrown into damage control teams during ship-to-ship combat unless there's a very specific need to repel boarders. Like, and I feel like they would be needed for that. I also could be wrong. I have exactly zero naval experience, so.
Yeah, I'm assuming we're probably actually standing by on damage teams because I would think that fires and other damage like that is exceptionally dangerous in an enclosed environment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that's also, definitely more my opinion than it is anything factual.
Well, the only other thing I would ask is, I just like just wait a minute, go grab my equipment, bring it over, and go. So, how tied into the ship are we allowed to be, and how far can we get away with it?
That's right. You're a comms tech, so yeah, you're definitely trying to hack some shit.
Look, I assume I didn't have time to really get set up other than just, register my equipment coming onto the ship because I assume that type of thing is required to be registered.
I'm sure there's some sort of like registration or on some sort of onboarding.
I'm assuming it's regulated equipment the same way specialized medical supplies are regulated, type of thing.
So Pike looks at you, he thinks for a moment and says, I'll give you the same answer I gave my last contact. If you don't steal anything classified and you don't tell me how you learn things as much as you can figure out.
What I'm hearing is plausible deniability on repeat. That's what I'm hearing. Sorry, Rance, go ahead.
Oh yeah, he gets the equivalent of the mwahaha expression. Yeah. Yes, Sergeant.
Yeah. Knowledge is a weapon.
Oh yeah, I am totally in any free moment I'm going to take advantage of what is probably copious numbers of holes in the systems to peel as much information out as I can.
Somebody once said information is ammunition. I'm sure I've heard that somewhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other questions?
No, I think I have some equipment maintenance to go do.
Maintenance.
Right, I've got two things for you then. The first is, do any of you garrison boys have any combat experience, whether it's in the Corps or any fighting experience before the Corps on your team?
Give me a minute to look over my sheet again because I'm trying to remember off the top of my head.
Let's see.
I don't know under what. I'm assuming our Mr. Galactic Crossboy over there was in some variety of snot to get that. I'd say like Watts has definitely combat experience in the not military flavor.
Yeah.
He's here
Still
instead
useful.
of jail.
I mean, our job is to kill people and break their shit. If he learned how to do it elsewhere, that's more skills.
Yep, he's got a good eye, great with heavy machinery, that type of thing. Since I don't, I would make the similar appropriate comments for the other two, but I can't see their sheets, so, and I haven't, dug into the nitty gritty, but I'm assuming I would have similar appropriate comments for them.
Can I just wiggle in?
Yep.
All right. As far as Matthew Warren's concerned, he is more mobile and in the right place in the right time than he is necessarily a good gunfighter. Not to say that he's not a good gunfighter.
Oh, so he is the lucky SOB.
Yes. As much as Winston was the lucky one in the last combat exercise, Winston has good like agility and things like that, so he's able to adapt to the situation involved for range combat, but not very much for close combat or anything like that. So his forte is more in the tactical sense.
Hey, speaking of Warren from what I see on the sheet, does not have any talents at all.
No, I noticed that.
He should have one.
Should have at least one.
There's nothing on here, so I don't know if something happened that changed that, but
we can fix that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll look at the sheet, the character creator right now.
Yeah.
And just send one of us a message for which talent you want dragged on.
Yeah, send it to Pike. That's right. I'm pulling Staff Sergeant wings here.
Yeah. I don't have an expectation that we aren't going to have problems with each other, or that the Marines aren't going to have problems with each other, as long as that shit doesn't happen on mission. Right? Not here, not in this MAU, but in my last unit, when we had issues, we kept it off the battlefield, and between missions, we take your top off, take your rank off, and just settle it and get it over with. All right? I'm 100% for it, as long as we do not interfere with the mission. We don't need our bullshit to risk each other's lives.
Agreed.
I think you and I are going to get along great.
Yeah, I want to bring my squad. Squad is the term for me and my other 3 people, yes?
Yes, for the 4.
I want to bring my squad back. Big goal.
It's always the goal. Don't be disappointed if it doesn't happen. Only be disappointed if you didn't try hard enough.
Damn, that's some deep wisdom right there.
Yep.
If you can keep your Marines giving 110% and you do it too, the results are how they happen. Luck just happens. If you don't give me 110%, that's how you'll disappoint me.
Makes sense.
If you don't have any other questions for me, I don't have any more questions for you right now, and I think we've given the grunts enough time to scuttlebutt.
Speaking of grunt scuttlebutt, Lance Corporal Winston, you are technically, on official terms, an NCO, a non-commissioned officer, a leader of troops. But you are also a Lance Corporal, and generically speaking, Lance Corporals are almost at the very, very bottom of a long line of non-commissioned officers. So you're in something of a gray area between troop and troop leader.
But the Lance Corporals aren't NCOs. They're specialist mafia.
No, I hear you. This I'm speaking from multiple angles on those last 2 sentences.
Okay.
Depending on who you talk to, they are soldiers or they are leaders. It's just a matter of who you're talking to, and I think you can figure out who's going to say which line.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, Winston, you, Watts, and Warren are left to your devices for what feels like something close to an hour as the 2 non-coms fuck off to go have a private conversation because that's what non-coms and other leaders do. Talk to me about what's going on in the squad bay, for lack of a better thing to call it.
So Leland is kicking Warren to make sure that he was paying attention to what Wescott and
Pike.
Pike. Yep. I'm reading through the talents right now.
Yep.
What Wescott and Pike were explaining, and he's agreeing with Leland, but he doesn't seem like he's actually paying attention still. He's like, yeah, I know, right?
And then Renance, to be fair, Watts is here. Watts is here as well. So obviously, if Watts has any input, by all means, it's three privates effectively, 3 juniors. Let's just call them that, junior enlisted warriors. Be very careful how I say that.
Yeah, he is. He knows at this point, after rooming with Wescott, he knows that she will come down on their ass if he doesn't do what he's told. So he will get his shit together. He will make sure his trusty handy dandy deck of cards is packed away safely in his bag so he can grab it real quick. He probably goes to the mesh, steals a couple handfuls of meal bars and another bottle of water or juice or something, shove that in there, pulls out the hydration pack from wherever they come from. He very specifically eyes in Pike's direction as he exaggeratedly grabs it to go put it in his locker. And then he goes shoots the shit with the other 2.
I want to be clear when I ask this because I was distracted for a moment because my cat was in the corner of my eye acting a little weird. He wasn't being weird. I thought he was. Did I just hear Watts swipe a hydration pack from Pike's locker? Is that what just happened?
No. He goes to where they come from. I'm assuming it's a cabinet in the mess.
Gotcha.
I'm assuming he has to basically walk by Pike and Wescott to do it. So he would go over there.
Oh, gotcha.
Very exaggerated. Grab one to go put in his locker to show he's doing what he's told.
I got you now.
And he does the little "I'm doing what I'm told" see face. Yeah.
Look at me. I'm doing what I was told. Don't mind me though. But look at me doing what I was told.
Exactly. He's a master of that.
Yeah, I can imagine mid-word.
They just look at him rolling by going,
he's
getting into some shit.
Fucking private. All right, anything else before we head into FTL? All right, let's go into FTL.
Oh, actually, sorry, yes.
No, please, go ahead.
I will try. Can I attempt to see what information I can collect without having to dig too nitty gritty into it? Because I'm assuming it's not downtime, but I want to at least scrape the easy stuff.
Some sort of comms techie role to gain information as to just
I want
WTF
to plug my
is going on?
equipment in so I can get at least the baseline versus walking in blind like I did today. I know I'm not going to get very good, but I at least want to plug into what we're allowed to touch because I probably haven't done that yet.
Let me see. What do you got for tech? So you got 4 plus your wits of
9.
9
I have a contact of 9.
I'm going to drop. I'm going to say.
And I have.
Go ahead.
And I have bypass. So if anything door related or of that kind, 2 more dice on top of that.
All right. I'm going to imagine that there are computer stations of some sort generally available. Not very many. You can interface with Mother in some way in this area because you still have to, requisition gear before you move out on a mission, things of that nature. And I feel like you going all the way up to the bridge to go to the main master computer seems a bit excessive for a Marine who's supposed to live and die down here in the hangar bay. I believe on ships it's called Marine country. So you wouldn't know you have to be an interface here.
The shippies would not be happy if I wandered out of Marine country. I know this.
Exactly. You better be on official duty because you will be stared down the entire time.
Yeah. I'm sure we have some other vaguely derogatory term to refer to these poor shippy people.
Oh, I'm sure there is. Yeah, you call them seamen. God damn, I'm going to hell for that one.
Yes, the seamen. I know better than to walk in seaman territory. I'll scrape together as much information and send it to my equipment that I'm allowed to carry around as I can.
Yeah, so So you have 9 dice. I'm gonna ask that you drop 2 of them because you're going through. How do I phrase this? You're trying to do something that you're not normally allowed to do without making it look like you're doing something you're not allowed to do. Does that make sense?
Yes, it is more difficult to disguise my activities.
Yeah, you're trying to get a general feel for things, but you know that normally the flow of information mimics the chain of command.
There is one of the context stunts. You can spend an extra success to hide your tracks.
Yes, there is that.
So base modifier -2.
Correct. And also, you're not entirely familiar with this particular setup for a network, etc. Because it's a little bit different than what you're used to. You did get a success, so that will help. You can push if you like.
I said -2. Why did it give me?
It
10.
10? Oh wow, it did.
That's not right.
Your electronics tools and your Xeeks and system diagnostic tool will both give you bonuses because you're on a ship.
I'll let it stand. I mean, you got a success, so I'll let it stand with that. Grab that blank paper and walk with a purpose to the comms com. Be a shammer. Austin, you're not wrong. Yep. Okay, yeah, so the general information that you do get doesn't really add a lot to what you already knew and what the colonel had told you. That indeed, as you guys were on approach to Ariarchus, it looks like you literally were entering that. You know, when you see a ship in space and you look at the control console and you get that holographic wireframe tunnel that is supposed to be flying in order to maintain trajectory or whatever. It looks like that was exactly when the thermonuclear device went off. Is right about the time the ship entered that tunnel. There has been a significant amount of comms traffic through the ship at that point. Messages coming into the ship from the network, messages going out to the network. And from the little bit of the routing information you were able to see, it looks like a lot of the communications is going back and forth between the Tambatam, other ships of the 33rd, and to Tithonus. Tithonus is the major fleet command for this portion of the UAS space, which is also where you're being told to move to next. Unfortunately, you're not getting much more information than what you've already been told. But if anything, you're getting a confirmation that what you're being told appears to be correct. Or, let me rephrase, not necessarily correct, but like, you're not being misled, I guess is the best way to phrase it. Or it's a very deep scam.
Yeah, and I would just get I'm assuming I would know, like, the general information about the Typhomus just in passing of what it is. I'd probably, if I just scrape some extra information about the area or something like that, because background knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Too. Look, I can't sit there and have read everything about everything in every single location. I'm assuming I'm just going to scrape what I can for some extra info.
I think you would know because your previous location, Tianjin, also fell under
I wasn't sure.
Yeah. So you would know Tithonus is like, it's like the equivalent to like Forcecom or Forces Command or, you know, Commander-in-Chief Pacific Command. It's that equivalent of level of command. So, yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to get into before you go to sleep? Anybody going once?
Pike's just going to work out and then get ready to go to sleep.
Moving ammo cans was not enough. He needs to actually go get a full pump in.
Yeah.
I will probably snag, once again, my random stuffed animal out of my locker to go to a sleep cam.
Okay, yeah. That stuffed animal, is that your signature item for Wescott? I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yes, it is.
I know it's on your character sheet. I just didn't want to open it up to verify.
It is actually the signature item for Wescott, is her random stuffed animal she got from her siblings.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So, eventually, after the aborted alert, everybody stows all their shit. Everybody makes their way into the cryopod. 6 hours goes by. People are doing various things. Hanrahan and Casados are not seen again until only minutes prior to the ship entering FTL. But by this point, I feel like it's safe to say everybody else is already, you know, literally hip deep into the pod, if not already actually fully in it.
I know at best it might be Pike and Wescott who's hip deep, and the rest are already under.
Yeah. You wouldn't know this right away, but I will tell you it is a 36-day transit to Tithonus. So 36 days later, you will wake up. Hanrahan, Casados, and Zim disappear from the base almost as soon as they are dressed. The colonel having grabbed up those two almost immediately. The rest of you guys, in lieu of any orders from on high, there's not much specific guidance given to you other than what you can imagine would be generic levels of get your shit ready, and then at some point, Pike, you'll get a note delivered to you some way, whatever is alien universe appropriate. It's a runner. Go ahead.
Did we have at least like 30 minutes before I get my message?
Sure. Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Yeah, your message probably showed up like 30.
I took the Marines for a run.
Oh, yeah. In fact, when
we woke up, they hydrated, and I was like, all right, we're running. Don't get dressed. And we just we do a run, and I bring them back. And then I tell them to strip and oil their weapons, and I get my message.
Yeah, that'll be when your message comes in. And you get a note from Staff Sergeant Zamborski. It effectively says, I can't make heads or tails of what's going on just yet. It looks like I'm going to be stuck in meetings all day. Keep the guys busy so they don't break anything.
Yeah, he reads this and he nods and he just folds it and puts it in a pocket.
For all intents and purposes, Pike, the show is yours insofar as Pike taking charge of the Marines. The local time is approximately 8:30 in the morning right now. The ship is in orbit around the planet. I don't think Tithonus is the name of the planet, but it's not important because I think Tithonus is the name of the base on the planet. Regardless, there is no real hard guidance from higher. Keep them busy so they don't break shit. That is your guidance.
Yeah. And there's a very relaxed, we did the run, but it wasn't he wasn't trying to push everyone to exhaustion. He was just this is a good thing. We're going to do it. We got to make sure we're staying on top of this stuff. This will wake you up.
Yeah.
And then we go to do the weapon cleaning. Even when Pike is doing his weapon cleaning, it's very precise, but it's very clear that he is definitely taking his time. There's no rush at all. It's very clearly busy work, but he's not trying to get up in anybody's ass about it either.
I mean, at the end of the day, you got to get your weapons maintained. And even if they come out of the rack clean, you still got to take them apart, clean them up again, make sure all the parts are doing what they're supposed to do. Because, sometimes weird fuckery shit happens in space. And not for nothing, the books that I have looked at don't specify anything in particular about the gravity drive or the gravity of the ships. But you do have artificial gravity on these ships that are floating in otherwise no gravity. So who knows what kind of microgravity bullshit might come in there and just distort a spring. And you don't want that to happen to your weapon.
It's not nothing work, but it's very clear that Pike that this is a casual thing. We're doing stuff so that we're doing stuff. We're obviously waiting for orders. We're keeping busy, but there's no rush and people can take their time and talk or whatever.
Gear maintenance is important.
Play some fuck games as long as we stay in the barracks here.
So you're saying that they have artificial gravity rather than using the actual propulsion of the ship, and they're using all that power for that gravity, but they can't have heated tiles.
I feel like this is a conversation you guys should have in character just because it'd be that much more entertaining. I feel like Leland Winston is sitting there cleaning the upper receiver of his weapon, talking about, so we have these gravity decks, right? Every deck on this ship has its own gravity field so that we can simulate 1G, just like back on Earth. But we can't have heated fucking tiles?
Oh yeah, no, he's having that comment.
I agree with you. I kind of wish we had heated tiles too. Now that you say that, that would be lovely. Maybe in another 150 years after all these ships die of old age.
Yeah, they'll have new ships with heated tiles. That'd be nice.
Yeah, we won't ever see them, of course, but maybe.
No, whatever. Future generations.
As he's brushing his rifle, Pike leans back and says, "There are some heated floors on this ship.
They're just not ours, are they?"
Not ours. Grunts don't get it. Flight crew.
Yeah.
Flight crew's got heated floors.
The seaman. We're back to the seaman territory.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe in the next edition of Cryopods, it will make all of you tall people all scrunched up.
Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't count on it though.
Yeah.
Some random flight crew, like one of the Cheyenne crew chiefs or something, just kind of pops their head and be like, you know who's got their own custom built cryopods that takes their own height into account? Puffs on a cigar real quick. Fucking Wei-Yu, that's who. Weyland Yutani. Those fuckers got custom fitted cryopods, and he walks back into the hangar bay to fuck off doing whatever he was doing.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, I've had to deal with Wei-Yu being on the ship before. They do roll in some custom equipment for their creature comforts.
Mm-hmm. About this point, I think Watts would break out his deck of cards. Look at Watts and I go, don't fleece everyone else in the pod, please.
The people in this bay, you don't fleece us. You fleece that bay.
Exactly. It's like, look, as long as you ain't fleecing the people in this bay, we good, okay?
I want to be clear. You guys pretty much literally end up with the entire day to do whatever Pike says to do or whatever Wescott says to do. Lunch and dinner come and go. The time between filled with whatever drills, whatever. Are you ready for this one, Kane? Hip pocket training you want to do? After dinner, generally speaking, after dinner is considered free time unless there are specific guidances put out. That is the general rule that I'm going to go with as far as shipboard activities. That, unless there's something specific going on or a dedicated hit time or something like that, dinner time is, after dinner time until 2200 hours is generally considered, free time for the Marines, for morale and all that stuff. So, Pike, you get a second message shortly before dinner indicating, no change to previous orders. Continue as. I need to see this message from Australis real quick. He says, it's the U.S. Colonial Marines. Everything was built by the corporation that bid the least amount of money to fill the government contract. You ain't getting heated tiles. It's not wrong. But you know who is getting heated tiles? Wei-Yu ships have heated tiles. I'm going to make that a canon thing, by the way.
Yeah.
So happiness became a thing.
Is there before we break for the day and none of you get yourselves in any goddamn trouble, is there anything you guys need me to do? Anything you guys need?
I feel like that's a trick question, Leland says.
No.
Australia should not.
I know you don't. You might not know it yet, and you probably won't believe it for some time. But I don't got time for head games.
He nods.
No, if anyone changes their mind, I'll be back in about 3 hours.
Where is Pike going for the next 3 hours? That's what I want to know.
The gym.
The gym. Okay. All right.
Oh, of course.
I think Watts
With his,
about
like,
this time
10
would
strength.
wander to the next bay over with his cards to work on fleecing some people out of money.
Okay. Let's look at what Watts has on their character sheet and see what I can make you do. Manipulation sounds delicious. Never mind the fact that you have no dice of manipulation. But
He's got okay empathy.
Oh, sure. But so
honestly,
go ahead.
He rolls on the observation for figuring them out probably.
Here's what we'll do. We'll do it like this. So give me first give me your observation roll to identify potential marks as he's setting these games up. Okay. He gets a couple of people interested that he feels like he could probably get a couple of $100 off of.
He's not going hard on this one because he knows better than to go hard day one. It's mostly just about,
So how much money are you willing to put, or excuse me, how much money is Watts willing to put up for this endeavor?
Call it $50.
$50. All right. Go ahead and make that manipulation roll as he attempts to
At this
manipulate the
point,
cards.
he's just laying the groundwork to fleece money later.
Yeah. He puts the 50 up. He breaks even. But I think what happens is he doesn't break even because he had a good hand and a bad hand. I think he breaks even as a showing of, yeah, I don't want to fleece them just yet. I want to get them primed first.
Exactly. You don't walk in and cheat up front. Everybody knows.
No. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's laying the groundwork for future entertainment purposes.
Absolutely. Anybody else doing anything they want to get into in the evening hours post dinner?
Wescott would probably do some final double checks on everybody's stuff. Lay out the raids her probably never-ending stash of random snacky things that she then shoves in random pockets on everything, because she knows the hurry up and wait pain.
Yeah, you never know when your next meal doesn't show up on time.
Snackies are nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and plus the caffeine addicts and her squad need some assistance.
Winston
sure
and Warren
and caffeine powder.
Yeah, Winston and Warren, what are you guys up to?
So Warren is going to sharpen his knife as menacingly as possible, but probably fail.
I almost want to make you roll like a dexterity or something, just to make sure you don't chop a finger off.
So does he fail in the he cuts a finger, or does he fail in the he looks like an overgrown teddy bear?
He looks like a golden retriever acting tough. Like a you know.
The barks sound convincing, but the look in that puppy dog's eyes straight say, I want to play. Let's go play. What's Winston up to?
Winston is going to get some shut-eye, as this is probably the only time that he's going to get some actual human sleep.
As opposed to the required sleeping pattern of cryo. Is that what I'm getting?
Well, from what I understand, cryo isn't really sleep. It's more or less a suspended animation, is it?
Yeah.
Yes, but also you are capable of dreaming in this sleep. So your brain does, from what I've read, and Kane, correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've gathered from the core material, cryosleep is sleep. It's just you're kept asleep. So you do dream, etc. I feel as though you don't necessarily have a very good idea how much time transpires while you're asleep. But you know, for all intents and purposes, everything else that would normally happen during this normal sleep pattern still happens over the course of your transit.
All right, so then he's actually gonna walk around and see the lay of the land.
It's definitely different than what you're used to on the ground at Tientsin and your previous assignments. Your ground is the cryopod, the lockers, the briefing room, and the hangar bay. There's probably a couple areas like there's like the briefing rooms are interchangeably used by different portions of the active Marines as this is our fuck off space, leave us alone.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll from time to time there'll be a number of random Marines congregating in there, but these will be Marines within your platoon, even though not everybody in your platoon is awake. It's probably like one squad from each of the two sections is awake at any one time.
Okay.
You might randomly find people bumping around in the power loader bay, even though the power loaders are not in use, stuff like that. But like Marine country on this ship is not a vast expanse. It's more or less limited to this area here. Because normally what happens is you are asleep because the ship is in transit. You go somewhere, you fuck shit up, you come back. And there's not much else to be done, traditionally speaking. So it's not like you guys have large, major rec areas or, gaming rooms or things of that nature. There might be, like, the briefing room in the area like that, like, it could be set up for, like, movie night, and there's the mess area that has snacks and shit. So you can have some half-decent MW or morale, welfare, and recreation activities, but you don't have, like, a designated, this is the bar. This is where we go to hang out because we have nothing else to do tonight.
So no gaming area, so I can't play Galaxy of Warcraft?
Galaxy. It's Galaxy. Hold on. Oh, I heard. Oh man. So AP. Real quick aside.
Galactic Warcraft.
Galactic Warcraft. I heard this amazing, not real. You know how we always fuck up names so we don't get copyright problems or anything like that. So I've been watching AP Gaming Reel's Pendragon campaign on YouTube while I'm driving around at work. And by watching, I mean I'm listening. And I got to the episode. This is probably from like a couple months ago, but said this one of the NPCs had made this card game. It's apparently someone in that stream chat said, "What is it? Sorcery's the Assembly?" And I was just like, heard that shit. And I was like, "Oh my fucking god, that's fucking amazing!" Sorcery the Assembly. Oh my god, that was amazing.
That's genius.
It is.
So yes, I think Galaxy of Warcraft is indeed going to be a thing. And then they have the Galaxy... Okay, so it's Galaxy of Warcraft, and then they have War Galaxy, which is the tablet app of a cheap knockoff variant of the same damn game. It's just the graphics are shit. The models that are used are slightly different than the base game, but, you know, that's what you do on a handheld device.
Yeah.
Oh,
and just imagine the vector graphics that they're using because of the 80s.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know the ones. I had a Vectrex when I was a kid, which is the weirdest thing to have as a kid, as someone who's apparently as young as I am. But I played the hell out of that thing, and it was pure math. It was great.
Pending anything else, sleep comes for us all. And another evening passes aboard the ship. Is there anything else before we move to the next morning? I'm going to take silence.
So I'm assuming the cryopods double as our bunks.
You know,
kind of.
That's a great question. Let's just pretend that there is a room off of the locker area that leads to, or a hallway off the locker area that leads to. There's actually a hallway that leads to the rest of the ship, isn't there?
Yeah, to ship corridor compartments.
Yeah, so I imagine maybe something down there does lead to, like, the actual official Marine country barracks. There's probably somebody probably took some, like, a plank of wood and, like, not a heating iron, like a soldering iron or something, and burned in the words, you know, Marine country barracks, stay out, you ship fuckers, or something along those lines.
Oh my god.
And hung it
I
up
look
right
at
over
it
the door.
as I walk by. I take out my relative Sharpie, fix the grammar.
Yeah,
keep walking.
Somewhere in there they used the wrong your. So pending anything else, it is the next day, 05. I imagine aboard the ship, the lights have a cycle similar to Earth so that they attempt to maintain some sort of circadian rhythm. And at 05, these fuckers come on bright as shit every morning. Pike,
he
time
wakes
to go.
up, he stretches and says, yesterday was run day, today's gym day. Everyone, let's go.
Zaborski, Casados, they both disappear shortly after waking up. They go on a run. And then later, they're out doing other stuff.
Yeah, I'll take the crew to the gym. We'll pick things up and put them down for like an hour, and then I'll let everyone go get showers. Tell them, you know, like, shower, eat, get ready. We've got 30 minutes. I got stuff for us to work on.
Yeah, as you're coming out of the shower, Zimborski is going in, and he stops you. Hey, I got nothing. It's just been meeting after meeting after meeting. I swear to God, if I look at another fucking spreadsheet, I'm going to lose my damn mind. Keep them fuckers busy. If I hear anything else, I'll let you know. And then he's just like throwing the towel over his shoulder and heading right into the water.
I'm sure I'll hear exactly what I need when I need to hear, Staff Sergeant.
He just looks over. He doesn't even look over the back, or he doesn't even turn his head. He's just like, goddamn right. Turns on the hot water.
Oh my god.
Yep. After breakfast, it is again. Welcome, by the way, to the hurry up and wait. You are currently in the wait phase.
Yeah, we're gonna be spending our day going through maintenance checks and washing the APC.
Nice. Hell yeah. No wash rack is available, unfortunately, so you'll have to do it by hose and brush.
Yep. How unfortunate that we'll be doing it by hand.
Uh-huh. So, if I remember correctly, heavy machinery skill controls vehicle maintenance?
Sure.
Did I remember reading that right?
That sounds right. I'll go with that.
Manipulating heavy machinery.
Well, because, heavy machinery to his side, I'll do the electronic side for whatever else needs it. And then, because as that pair, we probably could cover pretty much anything on a vehicle at this point.
Yeah.
It works out great because they do the supply runs and stuff. We do the maintenance. Balances out squad-wise.
So am I expecting a roll, or are we just going to literally roll with it? That was a very bad word choice.
What are we rolling?
You don't have
because
to
I don't
roll
see that
anything.
skill in my.
Look, if I want to go pick up some extra information off of, the air, I might produce something along the way.
Oh, you know what? That's a good point. I think when the privates have broken out the brushes, Pike will pull Wescott aside and say, Go see if you can learn something. Stay out of trouble. I'll see you at the end of the day."
As I pass by Leland, I say,
"Oh,
a little loose today, but try to keep him from pissing off the upper management."
I will certainly try.
They get
heavy machinery is the first skill.
Yep. Go have fun ordering around our two privates.
Hey, make sure they get under the transaxle.
Seaburn boy over there has got plenty of heavy machinery, and he can do some work for you.
I'm not gonna make you guys roll just for watching the APC.
They won't. I want to go collect information.
Oh no, you're definitely gonna be rolling Comstech for that one. Comtech, whatever the hell it is. So yeah, what are you looking for? What kind of information?
Well, I just want to get a general feel of the land first, and depending on how that goes, I would probably start asking for additional stuff. But okay. I'm trying to keep it super light. I don't want to get us in trouble.
Yeah, you don't want to trip any alarms.
Okay, look, I will break shit as I'm going if shit has hit the fan and I need it to keep us collectively alive. Absolutely. This is not that time.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, normally with the contact roll, for each additional success you get, one of the stunts is you can ask the DM to tell you some piece of unexpected information that you accidentally encounter.
Yeah, and it has to be. The thing is it has to be factual information, but I don't necessarily have to give you detailed factual information, as I recall.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I would probably still more likely go. So because I'm keeping it light, I'm assuming I would prioritize getting new information rather than hiding my tracks. I'm not really trying to dig too much at this point. Okay. So yes, I would opt for my stunt to be additional random tidbit of information.
So the information you find initially is whatever happened at Kruger 60 has literally stirred the hornet's nest. Although that's understandable and probably quite expected. Like, somebody dropped a fucking nuke on a military installation in the nearby colony.
So we didn't do it to ourselves then?
Correct. Somebody else
That's important to also know, because there are certain situations, I would assume, in this universe where it makes sense to self-nuke.
Oh, yeah.
Cough, cough, major infestation, cough, cough.
Cough, cough, LV426, Hadley's Hope, cough, cough. Yeah, no, I got you. I got you.
So we know for a fact that we didn't do it ourselves.
To be fair, as I recall, Hadley's Hope LV426 was not a nuke drop. It was the atmosphere processing unit that went nuclear.
Well, so
I did watch the movie not long ago.
Oh
yeah, but there's
it's been a while since I've watched any.
But the rumor mill for Hadley's Hope and the vanishing of the Sulaku are all over the place.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna get to that. We're actually gonna get to that information in a minute. But I want to handle how this roll is. So one, you got a success. You got a stunt on top of that, which gives you basically some extra information. So again, initially, what it looks like is that somebody nuked Kruger 60 and Fort Nebraska. Who specifically currently unknown, but there are active theories as to who it could be. There are active investigations. Your unexpected information. You find references in at least 3 separate communiques and or documents identifying a group calling themselves the Border Bombers, or a group that has been assigned that label. It is around this point that you start getting the hackers' version of heebie-jeebies, and maybe the idea that backing out of this data dive is not a bad idea.
Nah. Soon as I have a whiff of anything, nah. Gone. Done. Scrub traces. Go back to backtracking, scrub some more stuff, and then resetting all of my stuff so it's back to its system acceptable, registered.
Yeah. While that's going on, there is, as I believe it was mentioned in stream chat, there is rust on a couple of U-bolts that Lance Corporal Winston and Watts and Warren are expected to handle. Most Ricky Tick, which, by the way, is a military expression meaning fast as fuck right now.
Okay.
Please.
Watts may or may not suggest setting it on fire to fix it.
I know Watts totally fucking does. I'm sorry. These are
Watts totally suggests setting it on fire for sure. I just want to give Luke a chance to do his thing.
All right, so Leland grabs the hose a little bit harder and decides to what was the problem again?
I'm taking
There's some rusty bolts.
There's some rusty bolts that need to be cleaned off.
I see. Is there actually like a replacement that we can get for those things, or?
I believe the general understanding is there is rust on those bolts. Get rid of it. That's usually how it works in my military experience. And by getting rid of the rust, it's either scraping that shit off, or if you want to pull a quickie, paint over dirt.
No, he's gonna go by the book. He's gonna scrape down right on it. He's gonna get Warren to use whatever he has to focus on that, while Winston and Watts. Hey, I'm starting to remember the names.
I'll get there eventually. Probably about the time one of them dies.
Yeah. And we focus on remaining the cleaning job.
Okay. Around noon, when you guys stop to get lunch, there's slightly more than normal amount of people milling about the mess hall. It's almost as if there's like, we know there's shit that's got to be done, but we've got all day. Nothing's coming down. There's no new orders. It's just, we've got all day. There's a lack of hardcore energy, motivation, etc. So people are just milling about in the mess hall longer than they otherwise normally would. For those wishing to attend to any sort of gossip attempts, please make me an observation roll, and let's see what kind of information you may or may not overhear in the form of scuttlebutt from other people, other Marines, others, crew members.
Okay. I'll
and don't roll yet because I'm deleting all of them to clear this out.
Okay.
All right, you may not make your rolls.
All right, so Winston will do a roll.
Go for it. Not sure why you rolled. Oh, you need to reset your stress. Get rid of that 1 point of stress. You did get 2 successes. Anybody else making observation rolls?
I think Pike is just sort of generally shooting the shit with the other NCOs.
See what
see what
he
picks up. Yeah, sort of do you know anything? I don't know anything. Yeah, I'll push that one.
I was just going to say, would you like to reroll that?
Yeah, I'll take that.
I don't think Wescott would have the opportunity to do that because she'd probably be wandering back after getting the heebie-jeebies after doing her thing.
Okay.
But Watts probably would have a chance to eyeball people. Okay. He may not be looking for info. I think he might just be getting the lay of the other people and, that thing.
The networking thing. So he knows who to fleece later.
Okay. Exactly.
All right. Looks like we've got a couple of successes across the board. So effectively, what you hear or what you come across, some of the things that are talked about, not necessarily hushed whispers or anything like that, is a number of. Let me back up. There are rumors that, first off, that it was the border bombers that were the ones that were responsible for the attack on Fort Nebraska. And that this was actually not just their only attack, but their most recent in a series of attacks. There's also speculation, of course, that the UPP, or the, if I get the acronym right, Union of Progressive Peoples, are actually facilitating the bomber borders and their efforts along the border. There are others that actually believe the bombers are aliens angry at humans and hell-bent on wiping us out. Although people saying that, there's an equal amount of people saying, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. There are no fucking aliens out here.
Sounds like some shit the UPP would do.
And this, by the way, is as a collective group for those that rolled. These are the things you're hearing. And I want to point out too, and especially for every piece of information you hear, there is another piece of information that seems to contradict it. It's almost as if people don't have all the information. Shocker, I know, or all the facts, or know what the fuck they're talking.
Pike bites on hard with the let's blame the UPP camp.
Shocker that.
Yeah.
So I actually would probably, Mike Wescott would probably catch up with Pike and go, not the first time I heard border bombers today. And that's just the limit of her comment.
Yeah, he nods and he holds like a finger, like, hold on a second. And he picks up his drink from the table and says, I'll catch the rest of you later. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And while we're walking in the hallway, we're like, what do you know?
I'll just give him the general overlay of, same old, pretty good. The electronic rumors are matching pretty much what's in the mess hall for the most part, except a lot more emphasis on border bombers.
No information about who they are?
Not yet. There's a lot of active investigation going on.
And they're not UPP?
Not a single sniff flavor of that yet.
All right.
The fact that we didn't jump down that train immediately is actually really surprising. Based on, and that comment is based on what I understand the political environment of how our group argues really, really bad with the other one, right?
Yeah.
I would assume by default we'd have blamed the other people, but we are clearly not. And I've mentioned that.
Oh, your argument is that I kind of checked out a little bit, but
so it's the Cold War thing of it's always USSR's
it's always the
fault,
Russians, right? Yeah,
it's always the Russians' fault. Except we're not even talking about the Russians, which means there's some really heavy stuff leaning a different way.
Right. But you also, I want to point out,
Russians, apparently.
Yeah, and I want to point out, not to throw red herrings all over the place, but just to point out that one or two of the other comments, rumors, etc., that you're picking up is that that if it's not the UPP, that the UPP are still, if they're not directly involved, they're still indirectly involved because they're facilitating or supporting.
I mean, you get weapons from somewhere.
Well, yeah.
There's only so many people who make nukes.
I mean, AK-47s are fucking everywhere.
Yeah. In the future of the future past space 80s, they have AK-47s.
Yes,
now.
I saw that. That's amusing as fuck. And they're fucking everywhere. Everybody's got them because they're cheaply made and they're effective. What else do you guys want to get into?
I mean, bullets hurt.
Yeah, bullets hurt, especially when they're larger than your 5.56.
I mean, I'd just rather not get shot. That's a
fair point right there.
Yeah, I mean, any bullet's a bad bullet.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Well, are we?
Good job. Hopefully, we can learn a little bit more, but
honestly, I was got to be delicate in the first couple stages of collecting information. It's always good to, it's getting the lay of the land problems.
Right. Digital things.
Same is true when you're, you can ask Watts, same is true when you're prepping to fleece a bunch of people at poker.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't do it in our house, I don't care that he does it.
Exactly.
Well, there's no word yet which has me a little concerned and a bit antsy. I'm not used to being awake without a fight for this long.
Yeah, I get the distinct impression that we're not really meant to be awake on these ships. We're mostly sleeping, going someplace, and doing something.
Yeah.
I want to point out, and I probably should have put this together earlier, but Tithonus is a significant military installation. So probably what would happen, other than, well, you guys would actually be hanging out on the surface of Arearchus, except for the fact it just got nuked. So the Conestoga, the Tambatam would be your transport. So if you weren't on the ship getting ready to go fight, you would be coming back and then going down to Fort Nebraska to do your normal thing. So this situation, I probably should have clarified that or realized that earlier.
They basically blew up our barracks building, and now we're just sitting in the vehicles going, where the fuck are we going now?
Yeah, that's almost exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
I'm assuming they staged probably a couple 100,000 people out of that location, and now we're just sitting in places where we don't have any place to sleep the bodies.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was 60,000 according to the population census for the colony outpost, whatever, plus however many were specifically military related, and they're all gone now.
Well,
unless they were already on deployment somewhere.
This is unusual. My best guess is they haven't decided where they want us to kill people and break shit yet, and that worries me a bit more. Anything you can learn. Anything you can learn.
Fist bump. Walks off.
Yeah.
You mean
I'm gonna
fist bump?
Yes, fist bump, because she is probably on the shorter side, and I'm assuming Kane's character Pike is very tall.
Pike is gigantic.
He's like 6'7" or something.
He's 6'4".
Wow.
Yeah, like she would be a full foot shorter than him, probably.
He's 6'4", and he's probably around 350 pounds.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Not 350,
250,
like
280.
250.
Yeah, 250,
Yeah,
280.
so she's probably a foot and change shorter and less than half of his weight.
There's definitely a lot of this going on.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys aren't sitting down.
Pike is weirdly big.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, weirdly, but very, very specific reason that we have not really touched on.
It's funny because I think we built our characters kind of opposite. I focused on the wits and the empathy and those types of skills. I think you focused a lot more on the strength and stuff. So
Yeah,
that's one way to look at it. That's one way to look at it.
Focuses were different.
Yep.
Yeah, he's gonna.
Hey, we min-max the opposite halves the pie. It's working out.
So yeah, he'll return the fist bump, and then he'll head back into the to the mess to go get the privates to go continue scrubbing the truck.
Mm-hmm. And I would probably make a separate check, but be more conscious about not tipping anything off and being more secretive. Because now that I have a general lay of the land, I'd probably go for another round and focus more on hiding my tracks as I'm collecting info.
Just like somebody trying to shoplift in a grocery store. First couple of times, it's easy. After that, it gets dangerous because you start getting sloppy.
Exactly. Sloppy is not allowed here.
For the sake of time, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Nope. Go
ahead.
They
only bother catching people shoplifting after you hit a certain dollar amount and it becomes a felony. So they just let them walk otherwise.
There's that too.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've worked in a lot of grocery stores, and we would just see people like eating stuff in the aisles and just dropping the wrappers, and we'd be like, "Yeah, that's about right."
Mm-hmm.
For the interest of time, I'm going to go ahead and just say you guys spend the rest of the day cleaning up the APC, doing some preventative maintenance on it. Dinner time.
We got the list of things to do until we get orders. Doing an inventory of all of our weapons. Counting bullets.
Just for the sake of time, I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward to the following morning, and I'm gonna kind of compress this a little bit because we do have to do experience checks and then our outro stuff. The following morning, 5 o'clock wake up, 6 to 8, or perhaps starting a little earlier than that. Physical training. What are we doing for physical training tomorrow or this morning, Sergeant Pike?
We're doing a bit more functional. We're we're kitting up, no ammo.
Okay.
And we're basically going to be like crawling through tubes and picking up ammo boxes and running them back and forth.
Excellent. All body training.
Yeah.
Awesome. followed by showers, dressing for the day, breakfast. At 9 o'clock, all hands are called down to the hangar bay as word trickles down that a visitor is being brought aboard and all hands are required to be present. So following your morning routine up to this point, you do make your way down to the hangar deck. The Marines and the crew of the Tampa Tam are all in formation, separated by their various divisions and platoons and what have you. Colonel Hanrahan stands at the front of the formation. Lieutenant Casado stands in front of her Marines. And Staff Sergeant Zim is standing near the back. Everybody is silent and waiting. On the far side of the hangar, the elevator comes up, and seated on the rising platform is a Mantis-class stealth ship, an experimental platform that is said to be a potential replacement for the Cheyenne. This one, however, is painted virtually all flat black, and as the ramp comes down towards the back of the ship, 4 large Marines, roughly the size of Pike, dressed in all black gear, armor, helmet, gloves, uniforms, etc. They're all carrying M41As and sidearms, but everything they're wearing, everything they're carrying, it's all flat black. Where am I? Descend the ramp and then take up guardian positions. A brief moment passes before a short, fit, dark-skinned female with her hair done up in a tight bun walks down the ramp. Her step, it should be noted, is nothing but pure confidence and direction. She is meant to be here at this time, and she knows it. She'll turn off the ramp, head directly towards Colonel Hanrahan, who in turn brings the Marines and the flight crew to the position of attention, renders a hand salute, and then lets her have the floor. And you will note by this point, if you haven't already, she is a 4-star general, and in the U.S. CMC, there are only so many of those. This you would recognize through scuttlebutt, being forced to know who your chain of command is, etc. This is General Delilah S. Vaughn, second in command of the United States Colonial Marine Corps, second only to Commandant General DeLaMargio. The 2 senior officers have a very quick, quiet set of words, and then General Vaughn steps and starts to speak directly to everybody gathered. Fort Nebraska orphans, she says, you are not alone. I am here before you because I also lost friends and family on Ariarchus. Like you, I want payback. I want the heads of the bastards who took out our home. And to get them, I need you. I need your guns, your fists, your brains. When you're out there, find me evidence that the UPP is responsible for these border bombings. You see something that don't quite look right, you bring it home to me. Find me anything, something we can use to get Secretary Cruz to say yes to kicking the shit out of the Union and shoving them back over the border where they belong. General Vaughn takes a moment to let everybody soak that in. She'll turn a cold, hard stare, sweeping across the ranks. Then she'll motion for Hanrahan to come back and take charge of this formation again. With a final salute, she'll step away, turning back towards her Mantis. And then after a moment, 2 or 3 paces, she'll lean back over, or not lean back, but look back over her shoulder. She'll have this big shit-eating, I'm going to fucking kill everyone grin. Give them hell, gunfighters! And then promptly boards her Mantis and departs. Because apparently this is what generals do in 2180, whatever, is they show up, give a 5-second speech, and then leave again. All at the taxpayer's expense.
Don't you wish they were only
excessive.
5 seconds?
Oh, yeah, I know, right?
Did I recognize any of the guys in black?
No.
Okay.
I'm just going to categorically say no, because I'm not given any information as to who they may be. But in your particular case, 1 or 2 of them might have looked familiar, but you couldn't make it out from this distance. They all, of course, you guys almost all look, not necessarily the same, but once everybody is armed and armored like that, you all do look the same. At least in their case. As the elevator doors close and the Mantis descends, the doors close, or the platform does a thing over top. Hanrahan turns back to the formation, snaps a quick salute. Platoon commanders and division leads, take charge. And then Casados will turn around and take her troops into the briefing room and sit you guys all down. In this case, that is the 5 of you. Her first step is to, I'm kind of paraphrasing for the sake of time here. Her first step is to basically introduce and apologize for not being available since arriving at Ariarchus. But she does want to take a quick moment to get to know everybody, and of course, we're going to gloss over that. Before she gets a chance...
What is Casados' rank again?
She's a lieutenant. She is your platoon commander.
LT platoon commander.
Yep. I don't believe the CMOM actually specifies between first and second lieutenants, but let's just go with first lieutenant if it's ever important to know. However, before she actually gets a chance to go deeply into any details about like future operations or anything, she'll be called by the colonel for yet another meeting, and that will leave Zamborsky in charge. And with Zamborsky, you guys actually now have a quick moment to do something of a sit down and talk about what is going on and what he is willing to provide information. So he does one of those, you guys are like in the briefing room or whatever, and he does one of those, he kind of leans back against some table, crosses his arms. What do you got? I know you guys have questions. I ain't never met a private that didn't gossip.
Pike chuckles.
Stratus makes a great comment. He says the PT is an alien version of that scene with Clint Eastwood in Heartbreak Ridge, where if you're not wearing the gear the sergeant is, you're doing PT with no shirt.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing the scene with an AK-47. This is the sound of the enemy. It has this is the sound of the weapon the enemy uses. It has a distinctive sound. Remember it. Like but yeah, I take it we're perilously close to getting orders, Staff Sergeant.
I wish I could say yes. But if I had to trust only my gut and not my eyes and ears, the answer to that question would be yes. Unfortunately, I have not been given a timeline. We're in something of a holding pattern while they figure shit out. And it looks like they haven't figured it out yet. But the general's here, so that's probably going to change.
Have we gotten any official word on who killed the rest of our boys?
Nothing official. No one's claiming it. But everything seems to be pointing in the general direction of those border bombers or the UPP or some amalgamation of the two fuckwits. I think he uses the word fuckwits. In fact, I'm going to add it to his repertoire.
Well, the UPP didn't do it directly. They certainly made it happen. It's right up their alley.
Indeed it is. Shitty little bastards.
He'll just put his hands behind his head and relax in the briefing room. And if anybody else wants to talk or ask any questions.
I'm assuming we would do at least the basic background chit chat because we're normally asleep. We don't get a chance to really talk to Staff Sergeant.
Yeah, Zim will definitely give, like, you know, he grew up in a place called Texas. He's been known to puff on a cigar from time to time, but that's about all.
In Texas?
No, just a place called Texas. I know. I'm making a joke. I'm making more of a joke than anything else.
Star place.
In fact, I think Texas may have actually broke off from the U.S. at one point in this history. I don't recall specifically. I may also be getting that confused with other sci-fi worlds too. I know they definitely did in Traveler 2300, so I may be getting some bleed over there. Yeah, so Zim is, I think you're right. I think it is only 2300, and I'm definitely getting bleed over. Yeah, Zim he'll take a moment to try to get to know you guys a little bit more than just, hey, you private, hey, you Lance Corporal. And I'm going to gloss over that too, because we need to start moving towards the end of our session here. So unless you guys have any specific questions to ask.
Nah, it'd be the specific share of, hey, this is what our backgrounds are, this is what our roles are, this is where we're from, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, stuff that's on the sheet, but it's easier to place job to name and face when you're sitting there.
Yeah. There's definitely. Oh, you're the comms nerd. I think he calls you that too. You're the comms nerd. You're the Seaburn spook. I don't know if it's spook is the right word. I think you'd be like, you're the Seaburn creepy guy. Okay. He doesn't like gas. I'm going to add that right now. You get the feeling that he's like, no, if it comes to gas or nerve shit, I'm out. I'm not even fucking around. It's just no. I'm going back to the dropship.
I just shrug and go, not really an option when you're backing up the Seaburn.
Luke, anything from either of your two guys?
No, pretty much just a general chit chat. Warren is just pretty nervous about the whole situation because there's no orders, and no orders is bad orders. And Leland is just thinking about what direction he has to go in the next couple days.
Okay. And that will be about it. I think what we get is Zimborski. He'll have a final moment, and he'll say something. And for this one, he's going to look at Pike, because he knows Pike's been around a little bit, maybe not necessarily a lot, but he'll be like, Pike, you ever hear a place called O'Bannon's World?
Probably have. Yeah, I've heard of O'Bannon's World.
Jungle. I'm trying not to paraphrase Dune right now. Arrakis, Dune, Desert Planet, O'Bannon's World, Moon, Jungle.
The jungle will eat you.
The jungle will eat you. Fucking sure as shit will eat you. And I think Zim actually says that too, Zimborski. And then he says, if I was gonna flip a coin, heads and tails, it's gonna be O'Bannon's World or some stupid satellite station. I'll let you know more as soon as I can. And that is where we shall end it for this week. I need to open up this one right here. Let's do some experience points checks. Did you participate in this session? The answer is obvious. If I have to answer that for you, I may not let you have that point.
So we give everybody 1 point?
Yep. Go ahead and click the little circle-y thingy on your character sheet for that one. Luke is AFK, so I'll give him a second. Omar passing something for the drives this week. I don't... Oh, you're giving me something for the drives. Got you. I'm waiting. We're waiting on Luke to get back, just so we don't end up repeating anything.
Yeah, honestly, I can tell you right now, my character is going to be spending a lot of time collecting information.
That is probably not dumb. I almost said not smart, but that's not what I meant.
Honestly, I will just roll another comms check now, because I think she probably would have had whatever the last couple days. But she scraping as much information
since you're making
as possible.
A random ass comms tech roll here, what are you looking for?
Oh, more of the same information, and this time she's hiding her tracks. Okay. She's progressively digging deeper in baby steps, getting the lay of the tech land in this particular area, and scraping as much information as she can for Pike.
Okay.
And because Mr. Zim over there recommended a couple of places where we might go, I'd also start pulling specific information on those places too.
All right. You get...
I'm sure she knows how to Google search.
I mean, that's kind of what you're doing. You're using the network as Siri at this point, but...
And then I'm, picking in the easy to get informations and scraping some stuff up that isn't actually out there for just funsies.
Yeah. What you get is, on your initial success there, is you do get note that there was some comms traffic going back and forth regarding a hospital ship called the Glory, and it's cross-referenced with O'Bannon's World with crash/retrieval. Your free bit of unexpected information is stay for a second. One of the recent bombing strikes was a UPP site. So one of the targets where a nuclear weapon was used was a UPP site. Unfortunately, you do not get a name or even the star system. Mother is the original Siri, according to Australis. And I feel like that's a fair fucking statement. And if it wasn't Mother, it was fucking Hal. Because I don't remember which one came out first off the top of my head. I feel like 2001 came out first, but I could be wrong. On that, we will leave it with that note, and we will leave that as our pseudo cliffhanger. Luke, go ahead and pull up your 2 character sheets. We're going to do some experience points checks real quick.
Okay.
First question, did you participate in the game session? And as I said before I realized you were AFK, if I have to answer that for you, you don't get this point.
Okay.
Because I was being a smart ass. Did you risk or sacrifice something to further your personal agenda? I am going to argue that Wescott gets this one, but I don't think anybody else does. Wescott, you did kind of risk a little bit with your Snoopy Snoop, internet snoop. Because and I feel like this applies because you're trying to get more information about what's going on so you know how best to prepare your people in order to make sure they come back.
I would like to try to make an argument.
Okay.
That Pike is, even when he's like during the listening to the rumors and listening to Wescott, he refuses to change his optics that the UPP is definitely doing this. And I think that is going to potentially compromise things in the future with his inflexibility.
Okay. So your argument is you're trying to, because you're looking at this as the UPP is at fault, that fits your agenda, which is basically murder the UPP.
Yeah.
Is that what the basis of your
argument? And I think the risk part of it is that he's not looking at the information he's getting objectively, and that can compromise us as a team.
Where the later complication may arise. I'll allow that one. It might be a little bit of a stretch, but I'll allow it. It makes sense. Luke, any feedback on that particular question?
No, I didn't really risk anything.
Okay. Yep, fair. Did you risk your life for your buddy? I feel like the answer for that one is also no. Did anybody challenge or stand up to your rival? I feel like the answer is no, but I will hear arguments.
I honestly haven't even defined a rival.
Yeah, I don't think rivals have been clearly defined yet. Did you overcome a dangerous event using violent or non-violent means? I'm going to say no. The closest thing you had to dangerous moments were either loading the vehicles because you thought this was a drill, or you thought this was a real thing, but ended up being canceled. The only other thing that comes close to dangerous is Wescott snooping around in the interwebs, but I don't think that was necessarily dangerous.
Dangerous to the campaign, maybe.
Dangerous
to my future career.
Yeah, that could be. That could be. But I still don't think it's quite as dangerous as it suggests, so I'm going to move on to the next question, which is, did you make a significant discovery or revelation? Wescott, yes. Anybody else?
No.
I got no gymnastics for that one.
I mean, you did pass your observation roll for rumor mongering. I don't know if that would necessarily quite count as a significant discovery or revelation.
That's entirely up to you, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you think the rumors we heard were?
There's a section of the network called Only Space Beast. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Oh my god.
Nah. Honestly, Watts, his form of his agenda is he's out for like downtime. So he's doing he's not risking anything for his agenda yet. He's laying the groundwork for his agenda. But he might start with the more risky stuff as the sessions go on.
Yeah.
So he really wouldn't have justified risking anything. We've already covered Wescott. So.
Yeah. Did you perform an extraordinary action of some kind? And I feel like the answer to this is no. Across the board. I feel like, generally speaking, this episode, as far as actions, there wasn't a whole lot of crazy shit going on. It was just things got chaotic, and now it's like hurry up and wait. We were waiting a lot. But the last one, of course, is did you earn any money? And the answer to this one is yes, because nothing has happened to your payment eligibility.
I haven't docked any of your pay yet.
All right. So I just want to be clear about the participated in the the game.
Yes.
Did I get those or no?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. That I was being facetious when I said that.
Well,
in that if I had to answer
I was
that question,
AFK for a minute or two.
no, you're good. And I do realize that in this particular episode that your characters didn't get necessarily as much screen time as others, but you were here for your parts, so that counts as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Yeah, this is one of those moments where hacking to collect information in the middle of a roleplay session is really the only thing we can do unless we're doing extra dumps.
Yep.
So and that'll change because I'm sure there'll be plenty of times when the medical focus will come up or the explosion-y boom boom shooty boops.
Let me tell you, it'll quickly progress from, oh my god, we're being hurt. Come help, I'm dead. That's going to be the progression.
Yeah.
All right, so feedback. Quick check-in with my 3 players to see how this particular session went. Some feedback and other thoughts. Then
very cinematic.
Go ahead and move into outros at the same time. Luke, you had something to commit, so please, or contribute, I should say. Please give me what you got.
Very cinematic. I liked it. I may not have been as talkative as I normally am this particular session, but it's just because, like you said, out of element, out of mind. But I did enjoy the session as far as what it was.
Yep, and sometimes I try to give. I will say that I do try to give everybody a chance to be a part of the show or be a part of the scene or whatever the case might be. But as it may be at various times, you know, the focus won't be on you or your character. It'll be on somebody else.
And that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. You got anything else before we move on to... in addition to feedback, any outro comments you might have?
As far as exposition dump, I'll write up a whole thing about that next time.
Did I do a lot of exposition dumping?
No. I believe it was Rodans was saying that unless we were doing like exposition dumping, there was not really much else we could do other than hacking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a RP or a non-combat focused session.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And that was fine.
Yeah. Rodance, feedback, outros. What you got?
This is going. I actually get it. As we're going, I'm getting a little bit better sense of how my characters fit together, and it's kind of nice. I'm gonna have to adjust their descriptions to toss in a little bit of backstory soon, I think, because I'm now getting a better feel for it. And part of it is it's been a while since I've looked into any of the movies because I've watched several of them. I haven't watched all of them, obviously, and I've skimmed some of the book, but I haven't got a chance to read in depth. But that's just real life stuff.
No, real life can get in the way quickly, easily.
Evil furnaces.
Yes.
Yeah. But and then definitely get a feel for the characters, and I'm enjoying it.
I'm definitely starting to see some synergy. Not necessarily in the direction I wanted, but definitely in the direction that I would expect when it comes to something with some rank involved. And I know the book specifically says, don't worry about rank, throw rank out. And I'm like, well, I can't. I spent too much time in the military. I don't know how long Kane served, but Kane served as well. I feel like there's going to be certain elements of the rank that we just can't toss aside as haphazardly as the book may suggest. On the other hand, I feel like it is working so far. It's only been 2 sessions, of course, but I feel like with what we have, it's been working. And I feel like as
it's giving us a role play structure that's a very easy pattern to follow.
Yes.
And I think that did a little bit of disservice to Luke. Yeah. Because his character doesn't get to play off of that as much.
Right.
No, I'm definitely underneath the pecking order a little bit.
He's
so
under the radar.
I think maybe next time we have an RP session, maybe seeing if we can find a focus that isn't all about the direct chain of command, maybe a little bit more regular, like average involved as opposed to
and I think command. What happens too, not necessarily throwing this out as a, I'm throwing this as an explanation, not as an excuse, obviously, but I do know the way my brain works. Obviously, that's based on my experience, and then trying to establish this story based on the material given in the books, based on my own experiences and how to flavor it. Staff Sergeant Zim's going to say, Pike, do this. Pike's going to turn around and tell the other characters, go do this. And then you guys will resolve that. That's going to be like my natural flow, if that makes sense the way I'm saying it. But I also know, you're right. Like Luke didn't get a lot of camera time, so the next time something like this comes up, try to give Luke some camera time. And I think part of it also is just the nature of the draw too, and not obviously I didn't try to leave him out.
No, and I don't
Excuse me.
feel left out. But I do understand that I may never actually talk to Zim directly.
And you probably wouldn't unless there was a very specific reason for a Lance Corporal to talk to the staff sergeant. Like either you're about to get your ass chewed or you're being recognized for something. Those are probably the main reasons why a staff sergeant would talk to a Lance Corporal.
Yeah, so flying under the radar this session was probably still like on par.
Still in character. It's perfectly in character. Or Kane's dead, and now it's well, not just Kane, but Pike is dead. Wescott's dead. Hey, Winston. I'm not gonna lie. I definitely just looked at your name to remember it. Winston, you're in charge. Get your fucking people out of there, man.
Yeah.
And
I'm getting ready for that.
The two things that I was thinking about during the session was how, like, once we get on mission, things are a lot more fluid, so it'll be a lot easier to get a lot more time.
Yep.
And it's just right now it was a bunch of like keep people busy. So I gave busybody tasks, and I was hoping that like Pike trying to frame things more casually was going to start more like in the group role play, give some time for Leland, but we were also trying to push through the hurry up and wait stuff as well. The other thing that is written in the book that I thought that's an interesting thing is have it like the group discussing like what do we want to do, and then when it comes to implementing it in character, the ranking people just suggest the party's idea.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad.
Australia's pointed that out too. He said, I think it intends for the dump rank to mean when when you're discussing stuff out of character, and that's absolutely right.
And I think, and one of the things that I was trying to set up was Pike trying to spend more time to try to give the in role play opportunity for people to be willing to, suggest the ideas, be more talkative and whatever, and not be so rigid with him.
I think what would be cool,
and it'll probably that'll probably work its way through when we actually get on a mission and it's just the five of us.
Or your character will die as soon as the dropship.
Or I'll die and it won't be an issue.
And you'll be private somebody or other, and somebody else will take charge. I think I will say this: the one moment I liked from tonight's session was when Pike and Wescott had their little face-to-face, talking about almost literally whatever at that point. I really appreciated that scene because that gives you a chance to show, for the story's sake, that rapport building and Wescott learning her new role as not just a squad leader, but a squad leader in an MAU versus her previous role as squad leader in a line unit. I think what would be cool moving forward, and I believe this is probably your intent, is for Pike to have that moment with each of the other characters as well.
Yeah.
Maybe depending, maybe not so much hard focus for the PFCs because again they're PFCs, but also they're minions. But definitely with Wescott and Winston having that one-on-one counseling session, which is what we would have called it in the military. Bring them on board to get them up to task and let them know what's going on, but also to open that line of communication for the two-way side of things. So I really do appreciate that scene. And I realized tonight was a little bit of, I don't want to say railroad, but I was definitely, especially towards the end, wanting to get to the next scene. I'd had a little bit more that I wanted to get to tonight, but it was stuff I added after I prepped what I did do tonight. So as it worked out, it worked out. Any other final comments before I do my final bit?
I think going back to it really quickly is that it becomes a balance between cinematic and non-cinematic play, right? Cinematically, my characters didn't have much to input. Non-cinematically would have taken away from the game, but would have also have made me as a player more involved in the process. But then, you know what I mean?
It can disrupt the story.
Yeah.
Potentially. And that's something that I, as the GM, I'm definitely going to be trying to be aware of, is knowing that everybody gets a chance for the spotlight because that's only fair. Of course, my counterpoint or counterbalance to that is the flow of the story overall as it's presented to the viewers. But I think overall tonight was a pretty good chance. We had a little bit of action in our series premiere, and this episode was a you know, I'm not gonna say filler because that was not what it was meant to be, but it was
It was
definitely
episode
meant.
2 when the budget was done.
Yeah, yeah, we blew the budget on episode 1, and we still got 15 more episodes to go. No, I think this one is a good. So we had our first episode, which was like, here's all the Gee Whiz Bang shit to draw the attention. Now we need to spend some time building the universe, and not that that was specifically how I was framing this episode, but that was definitely what a lot of what was going on was like setting the tension of, okay, we just went through a fucking drill after a nuke went off. What the fuck are we doing? Now we're sitting here for days and days and nobody knows what's going on. Zim is like, I can't make heads or tails of it, man. They can't figure out what the fuck they want to do. And trying to present to the players that there are a bunch of bigwigs trying to come up with a plan, but they just haven't finalized it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Which you will soon be getting finalized because you will be going on your mission next session. And on that, my friends, we will wrap for the night. That is all I have. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, strongly recommend that you like and subscribe and all the other buttons on there. And let's see, now it's old school 1930s Flash Gordon models because Omar blew the budget on episode 1. And it was all on flashbangs and shit. It wasn't even like flashy boom explosion type shit. At any rate, if you did enjoy the show, I appreciate it if you would like and subscribe and all the other silly buttons. But most important to me, and perhaps even to the community, just come on down to the Discord and join the mad talking of shit that takes place. Actually, no, there really isn't a whole lot of mad shit talking. Just come on down and hang out and discuss shows and tell us what you think of various things. In the meantime, tomorrow night, 2300, or I'm sorry, let me rephrase that because now it sounded like I just said tomorrow night at 11 p.m. Tomorrow night, Second Star, a Traveler 2300 role-playing experience. What are we doing in that episode? I don't even remember now. Oh, we're going to Kilimanjaro. That's what we're doing. I think that's the big thing. We're going to do some trading bits and do some buying and selling and hopefully not get shot at. But other than that, I will also be recording an episode for the Greyland Trios League on Thursday, so look for that video to be released Friday morning. And then, of course, we'll be back into it starting again next week on Monday. So thanks, friends. Make sure you stay safe out there. This world is a crazy, dark place. So make sure you're doing what you got to do for you and yours. And that's for me and mine. We're out of here. Have a good one, my friends.